start with your feet position so you can stand just like you would a putt. So the club is going to actually be a little bit more upright, if you will.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be, but just you're going to grip it a little bit lower on the handle, so maybe almost touching the metal.
Okay.
Feet together pretty much. You can place it in the middle of your stance or just slightly forward of middle, but we don't want to, some people can play it all the way back, but we want to keep our weight and everything moving forward, so it could be slightly back of middle, but we don't want to get it too far back towards our back foot, because you don't want to be hitting, like we talked about in the full swing, you don't want to be hitting behind the golf ball. So just slightly back of middle. And when we talked about the full swing, we were pretty even in our weight distribution. We want to now be almost 90% on our lead side, or for all right-handed players, their left side, and then maybe only about 10% here on our back foot. So, Spencer, why don't you go ahead and take your stance again for me? So ball position, you can move it maybe a little bit more back. Weight's going to be 90% on your lead side.
Yep.
And so what you've already done is you've already started to lean your hands forward, and that's very good. So the third key to the chip setup is we have our ball position, our weight shift. The last is we want our hands leaning towards the target. Does anyone want to take a guess why? How far does a chip usually fly in the air? Not very, right? So do we want to do things that increase the loft and height, or do we just want to kind of pop it onto the green and have it roll?
Get it rolling.
Get it rolling. So the setup is going to be everything we can do to kind of create that downward strike that doesn't launch it very high and gets it rolling faster. So we're just basically going to set up that way and not have to do anything in our swing to make it happen. So our very first thing we're going to talk about is just kind of the grip that we might have. So if everyone takes a look, does everyone have a logo on the bottom of their grip? Either some, so it seems like most. So Spencer, for you, just at the bottom of the grip, imagine a little 2 inches space. So right there in the middle, for most of our shots like we talked about, we're going to have, you know, a pretty neutral to maybe slightly stronger grip. So when you take the grip, that V that we talked about that's created between your index finger and thumb is usually going to be pointed somewhere towards your right shoulder. However, for the bunker shot, we want to actually rotate our hand a little more to the left, or if you have the logo, that V is going to be on the opposite or the left side of that logo. So what this does is it's going to open up the club face a little bit more, which is going to help add some loft at the beginning and hopefully help us get the ball a little bit higher. So that's the first thing we want to do, is make sure our grip is ready for a bunker shot. Then the second thing, like Aaron talked about, we want to see what kind of lie we have. So for this shot, we're on a little bit of an upslope, and so we want to make sure that we match our shoulders with the slope. And so when we do that, what I like to do is when I get in the bunker, obviously you can feel it if it's leaning one more to your right side or left. So I want to make sure that my weight is still leaning forward, because I want to try and hit at the ball or just slightly behind it. I don't want to get caught on the bottom of the slope and hit really far behind it. So I want to make sure I set my weight a little bit forward, but then I just want to make sure that I tilt my shoulders while keeping my weight forward and make sure they match the slope. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay.